The problem in the US is that no one has the credibility or authority to say this is how we must develop players. In some ways, the melting pot is a hindrance, because with so many different soccer backgrounds, no one is seen as the ultimate authority. The club directors of coaching don't have the credibility. Even the state directors of coaching and the national staff coaches don't have the credibility to shape the philosophy.
In most other countries, the philosophy was influenced by the top, and player development was filtered from the top down. In the US, the player development philosophy is evolving from the bottom up. Which brings us back to the original question as to why American players lag behind in skill development. The answer cannot be found in a coaching manual. There are no special drills or magic formations that Brazilian coaches use. Our coaches use the same drills and practice sessions. The difference is in the mindset, the tradition, and above all, the philosophy. It's a philosophy based on the belief and conviction that in soccer, superior skill and creativity will always win out at the end, and that coaches and parents must not coach creativity out of players. Our coaches don't allow the players to solve their own problems. From the very beginning, our players are overcoached. Not only are they overcoached, but the instructions that they get are often based on misplaced adult perception of playing the percentage game or safe play. Listen to the coaching.
Get it down, spread it out, get out of trouble. Swing it, swing it. Early time, earlier. Come on, don't start talking. Good. Good. Look at Jack's feet, early. Turn. Be with him, Scott. Nick, hit. Hey, Nick, diagonal ball. Come on, one. Get that. Hit the line now. Hit the line. Give it. Give it, Nick. Take him on, Nick. Pass. Come on, pass. Keep passing it. Move your feet.
The average American parent doesn't really care that our youth clubs don't produce players for the national team that are good enough to win World Cups. The average parent only cares that his or her child has an enjoyable soccer experience and that down the road it might bring a college scholarship and a free education. My advice to the parents is that if you want your child to reach his soccer potential, you need to let them play and let them learn on their own by trial and error. It's the best way to learn. Be there for them and cheer them, but don't become part of the game. It's not your game, it's their game to discover. Some parents feel that since they are paying the fees to the club, they are entitled to have a say in how the player development is conducted at the club. But for example, if you're paying your lawyer's fees, does that entitle you to tell your lawyer how to prepare your case? And if you pay your dentist fees, does that entitle you to tell him how to extract your tooth? The bottom line is that coaches are trained and certified to coach and are getting paid a fee for their expertise, just like any other profession.
Listen to the parents coaching from the sideline in this game.
Let's go forward, guys. Use the field. There you go. James, wake up.
The result is soccer that looks like this. Many of our youth coaches say that player development philosophy is great in theory, but the pressure to win tournaments such as State Cup is too great. They have to compete and do whatever it takes to win and cannot worry about playing pretty soccer. But consider this, the pressure to win exists everywhere, not just in the US. If you think that our youth coaches are under pressure, rest assured that the Brazilian youth coaches in this U16 game between Flamengo and Botafogo are under much bigger pressure. These rivalries are long on tradition and go much deeper than any State Cup game. The players are playing for their professional contract, for their livelihood. The coaches will get fired if they lose too many games against their hated rivals. These guys hate losing. We don't know of any club coach in Georgia that lost his job because his team didn't win the State Cup. but the pressure on the Brazilian coaches and the players is enormous. The game is fast-paced and intense. Yet watch how both teams play with purpose and skill, and with an emphasis on possession. Players here rarely just boot it forward and chase. There's a rhythm to the game that you rarely see in youth soccer in America. Everything is executed with a soccer solution in mind, and with a great support play around the ball. Regardless of the stakes, coaches in Brazil do not change their philosophy. If you think Brazilians don't care about winning, watch their reaction after they score a goal. In Brazil, the pressure to win does not interfere with the player development. Unfortunately, in the U.S., coaches let the pressure to win get in the way of their player development. It's as simple as that. The lesson is clear. Parents need to stop coaching from the sidelines and let the coaches be in charge of the team. Parents also need to research and make sure that the club they sign their child has the right philosophy, where the coaches encourage the players to play with skill and creativity.
Every country is unique with its own playing style and structure, and we can't just copy Brazil or any other country and try and play like them. It's impossible to replicate the slums of Rio in Alpharetta, Georgia, but we can learn many valuable lessons from other countries. So what can we learn from Brazil? Well, firstly, we don't have to spend thousands of dollars sending our kids to play in tournaments all over the country for them to become good players. Ronaldo probably didn't set foot outside his neighborhood until he was a teenager. Secondly, we don't have to worry so much about making our rules consistent with the adult version of the game for our kids. Again, the best players in Brazil, they didn't become as good as they are because they learn how to take throw-ins at U8. Thirdly, our players are playing way too many games and they don't train enough. We need to reverse that. And lastly, the reason Ronaldo and Robinho and Kaká are some of the best players in the world is because their youth coaches allow them to do the tricks in the games, allow them to improvise, and didn't coach imagination out of their game. And I think that's the most important lesson that we have to learn from Brazil.